Hello and welcome back to another episode of my daily vlog or blog or idiot abroad stories or reselling content, whatever you want to call it, through January. Had a lot of comments regarding the inventory. Thank you very much. I do have some points in regards to the Ziploc bags that people were suggesting these things, and I actually already use them. So I don't know how practical they're going to be in the current tub system. However, I'm willing to give it a crack. I did use Ziploc bags previously with individual characters in it. So just like the lunch size bags that had the individual character and all those different things. So, but I do like the numbering system. I'd probably use them in alphabetical order opposed to actually numbering them, because obviously there's different themes and different colors and all those different things. However, if I put them in alphabetical order, it's easier to work out. Obviously, if it's Camo, it's Zook, or it's Spyro, or the Trap Team characters. Alphabetical order, good to go. So I might have a crack at that. Like I was saying, is that I really enjoy using the swappables, which are the ones that pull apart in Ziploc bags, because it makes it infinitely easier to find those. But I will, I will try, test and adjust and go from that way. But thank you very much for the suggestions in that respect. I just got back from the pool. I didn't drown myself, which is much to the chagrin of a few of you watching today. I do have my very, very, very bright orange swim trunks, or board shorts, we call them in Australia, on. The lifeguard actually made reference to them when I walked in. The octopus didn't want nothing to do with me because apparently they're too bright. Him being orange is obviously all right, but me trying to pay homage to him, not good enough apparently. So a couple of topics today. I do have one more idiot abroad story for today. I'm trying to pace them out. This one's probably a little bit relating to a holiday that me and my wife went on. Probably back around 2017, we went to Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and all those different things. Another airport story. So maybe me being in airports isn't a good thing. So I will talk about that later in the episode. I did have a few people, make reference to the thrift video that I was going to do today. However, I actually burnt through the last of my $10 for the $50 challenge. So I will talk about what I bought and the reason behind that, and how I'm going to probably upset a lot of people by tinkering the rules. It's almost like Squid Games, right? That I'm just going to make the rules up to advantage me and hopefully get as best as I can. Let me know in the comment section below if you're actually doing the challenge yourself, or you're wanting to do the challenge. I can give you some ideas. You don't necessarily have to start at $50 because I don't want to bankrupt people. Start at $5, start at free. Personally, I wouldn't suggest free, in the sense it's a little bit more complicated. I know people have done free challenges before, and your mileage may vary. However, I think my mentality, especially from my perspective, I thank you for all the comments for me cutting down that word. I'm trying to use it in context, in a proper sentence, opposed to just a filler word. But like I was saying, when you have cash, preferably you would go to an ATM, or you would have Santa bring you $50 or whatever Santa brings you. Use that, because it's obviously in your hand. It's not some imaginary fun money that's on an ATM card or a bank card. And by all means, please, please, please do not use a credit card. But like I was saying, with that $50 or that $10 or $5, whatever you want to use, you're going to be very selective. You're going to be very, very considerate of what you buy. So you want to be really, really making your mind up as to what you want to purchase from that $5, $10, $15, $20, $50 if you're going that way. I am running a top secret challenge as well. It's a $500 challenge. I have made reference to it. I've been pretty slack in that respect. I haven't started it up yet. I've had a lot of stock that came in for one primary item, and it kind of ties into what I'm going to talk about today. It's a whole bunch of vintage 80s and early 90s Dungeons and Dragons books, first editions, a lot of Warhammer books, a lot of that kind of era fantasy RPG board game playing stuff. I'm probably going to let the cat out of the bag here. It's one of my niches, right? So I do enjoy coming across Dungeons and Dragons. I do enjoy coming across board games, anything related to the board game sphere. I know, a lot of people think of Dungeons and Dragons. It's still tabletop, right? It's still in the realm of board games, what I class, even though it's in its own category on eBay. So what I do is basically, I've got about 6 or 7 big heavy bags full of books in there, which was $499, and I gave the guy $500. He put $1 change in one of the bags. So I don't know what the purpose of that was. Conservatively, I'm looking at probably about $1,250 to $1,500 on those books. They're pretty beat up. They'd be pushing acceptable condition. However, because of the rarity and because of the content and the collectability of these books, a lot of people discount when they see books falling apart. And I know Grumpy Granny's spoken about this before, and I think Brad and Jazz and a lot of other people as well. Definitely Wayno. I'm throwing him under the bus. Wayno, agree, or otherwise I know where you live, buddy. I'm going to come down, so you have to agree. But collectors will look at upcycling their collection, for lack of a better word. So if they buy a Dungeons and Dragons book off me, for example, that's very, 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 very bad condition, not falling apart, still structurally sound, but very bad condition, they will have that because they want it in their collection. Very similar to these Toys to Life here, right? So a lot of the collectors that I do, they will buy a product off me which meets my standards. However, they might want a minty fresh packs, brand new one. However, if this particular item, and I think I've spoken about Springtime Flocked before, there's only 1,500 of them out in the wild, they might get one that's loose. I don't have any Skylanders on me at the moment. They might get one that's loose out of packet from a flea market, or through a collector website, all these different things. However, they might come to me later on when they've got some money from disposable income, wanting to upgrade their loose figure to brand new mint pack like what I've got here. They might pay for a loose figure, just say $400 or $500. However, mint in pack for this particular character is about $1,000. Primarily because I've set the market at that. They don't come up very often. And if you do find them, I would strongly suggest that you do some research and probably look at picking it up if it's a good price point. So that's my primary reason for the Dungeons and Dragons books. I picked those up for a $500 challenge. That's going to do a off the side kind of thing. I really don't have any idea of what I'm going to roll that into. For those people that are probably freaking out how that's going to affect this challenge, it's not. It's going to be completely separated. Still running on my Disgruntled Octopus store, and I think K-Fun, and I don't know if I actually raised it in the previous video, is that I'm keeping it in my Disgruntled Octopus store is because I want that sell-through rate, I want that sales history, I want people to buy with confidence. It will expedite the sales. If I use my Pufferfish account, which I think it's got 100 feedback, and it's been dormant for the last 6-7 months. So not only will eBay, probably give me lower search preference for that Pufferfish account, it will also hold my fund for up to 21 days, whatever it is. So I'm trying to cut that out of the equation. I want to try and roll the cash as quickly as I can. Still 0 sales on from the Treasure X, and also the Switch games that back there. I did have the Story Merchant put a comment in my comment section regarding this. So this was part of the deal that I picked up last night. I picked up a whole bunch of Warhammer stuff. So this is the Codex. Be very mindful of that some codexes go for really good money. And once again, Paige didn't watch my previous video, but if he watches this one, he can probably explain a little bit more. First editions normally go really well. This is the latest edition. This is the 10th edition from 2023. Quite possibly there could be another edition coming down range. I don't know how often they release it. That's more of a person that's really in tune to the tabletop niche. Something like what I'm with Skylanders. I know Skylanders back to front, where people might know Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer back to front, like Paige, onefootflipper. So long story short, I bought this. And it also came with 26 of these. So these are upside down. No, that's right. It's Warhammer Legends Collection. So these in themselves don't go for very much overseas in the States. So I think, and by all means, if someone's a bookseller, they could probably correct me if I'm wrong. They were a part of that model, and I think I've spoken about before with the Lord of the Rings stuff that I've sold before. Where you'd go to the post office, the paper shop or the news agency on a fortnightly basis and fork out probably $15, $20 to buy a book on a regular basis. Then you would collect the set, and I don't have sequential numbers, but they would make a picture as you went along the series from that way. So I picked up 26 of those, plus the 2 codexes for $150. So I've worked them out conservatively. I think it worked out to be about $5.38. I'm cheating here. So the $50 challenge is probably going to roll into $50.68, 78 cents, whatever, whatever I said, times 2. So I have spent the last of my $10. I bought this codex. I've done this, and this is where it's going to probably annoy a lot of people. And I've also thrown in a random book for $5. So I've gone through the whole pile, looked for the one that has the most recent sold comps. These seem to be selling very frequently around that $35 to $40 mark plus postage, depending on what book it is and what the target audience is, and what army it is from that way, not perspective. So I've thrown two of those in, and this is a controversial point. So let me know in the comment if you agree with this. If you don't agree with it, it's a done deal. So, but it's not up for negotiation. But what I'm going to do is I've put these other ones in Status. We'll go with Status. Uncle Wayno, if you are watching again, mate, I'm going to need another word check. He's our resident word checker. So if you have any words that I don't pronounce correctly, or can't spell correctly. If I can't spell them, Graham, which is an Aussie nurse flipper, he did put in the video yesterday with regards to the Space Hulk, its spurs. I'm not very affluent in spelling. I need that little red wiggle under the, right click and obviously change it to what it was. So Graham, our beloved nurse flipper, had a go at me for being dyslexic, but Graham, it was actually the way that you spelt it, mate. I actually copied it, literally Control-C, Control-V from you. So you need to give me some spelling lessons, mate. But anyway, so I've put these two, the rest of the books in Status. Once the codex sells, or once one of the other books sells, the value, it's almost like a consignment deal with myself, right? So what I've done is I've isolated $150 from future earnings for the challenge, and when these books sell, that will pay off, primarily will pay off the $150. Then those rest of those books can come into circulation. So I did list this codex for $64.99 plus $10 post. The story merchant said good luck with that. I don't know. Like, let me know in the comment section below. Like, I sell a fair different bit of codexes. And you can't see that blue tub there, but that's actually full of Dungeons and Dragons, full of Warhammer, codexes and rule books and all the tabletop RPG books and all those different things. I don't sell them frequently. However, I do think, my sense, and I think that people have spoken about this in the past, is that when you start loading your store with a certain niche or a certain category, in the sense that I do board games and I do primarily Skylanders, and I'm moving away from anything that's not that, I probably will pick up bits and bobs, do like bread and butter, all those different things, especially for the challenge. Anything I can make a profit on, I'll put in the store as well. However, when I start uploading those Dungeons and Dragons books when I got inside, that will start pushing through the codexes, it will start pushing through the Warhammer stuff, because it's all related. With the Warhammer books, and what I do primarily with these ones as well, and this might be a tip for new players, I'm not too sure, I actually pay the 6 cents to put them into two different categories. In Australia, I'm not too sure what it's in the States or in the UK, so let me know. If we want to put it into eBay categories, we pay a 6 cents fee. I think we pay $1.50 for a subtitle, or $2.50 for a subtitle. Definitely don't recommend that unless you have a replenishable item. Because I have seen people in my category before saying that they update their list on a daily basis or something along those lines of that. Personally, I think that's a waste of time. I normally punch them in, a decent, probably 30, 40 Skylanders a day into my eBay store, which kind of re-triggers that algorithm and goes from that way. Not perspective, that way. But like I was saying, as I normally pay the 6 cents to put them in two different categories. So I'll put this one in the Warhammer rule books and publications, and also I'll put it in books. I will preference the rule book and publications for Warhammer as the first category, then I'll put books as the second category. The reason why I do that for you is because the first category actually has the item specifics for that. It takes preference from that way. I'm trying to stay away from that B word. So if I put books first, it would have the books item specifics. If I put Warhammer rule books and people are driving off and annoying me, the summer mats would probably found most. Doc Emmett's come back for round 2. So what I was saying is that the first category in your especially if you've got two categories, will take the item specifics. And because this is primarily a rule book or a publication for Warhammer, I want to fill in those item specifics. There's not a lot of these listed, and that's why I've gone a little bit higher. They do have a code in the back, which has been redeemed. I tried to go in there today just to see if it's been activated and hopefully use that as a thing. However, I have put in there saying, hey, look, it's like new condition, even though my mum almost dropped it. She came in for a drive with me to pick him up last night. But I have put in there saying it's like new condition. The code has been redeemed, so you can't use it. I dare say that the person that's owned these books has either been a collector or someone that's probably just redeemed the code and used it on their tablet or from different ways. He has, I think I took them out. He has actually had a couple of pages photocopied and put into these, and I have seen that a lot of times in the Dungeons and Dragons and a lot of the tabletop rule books. And I apologise that I'm dribbling on about this crap today. Is that they will actually put they'll photocopy the pages they use on a frequent basis to preserve the quality of the book. So this is pretty much almost, I won't say collector condition, but it's very good to like new condition. But being in the Warhammer rulebook and publication category, it's not actually one of the options. It's only got new or pre-owned. So take that into consideration. These books, like I said, I've listed the other one for 35, maybe 39. They are in pretty decent condition, actually. I dare say that maybe read once, if that, because when I open the books, you can actually hear the spine cracking as if it was a brand new book. There is some pictures in the background, in the middle. So what I've done, being a very loathed bookseller that I am, hate books. But what I normally do is when I take a photo, I'll take a photo of the front, I'll take a photo of the back, and I will use the 1-to-1 ratio on the camera. So Mel back from Burnout taught me that many, many years ago when I was talking to her in the post office, which was fantastic because I didn't take that into consideration. So I will literally put it as much as I can in the frame central, take one at the back, then I'll have the photo, I can't really do it that way, but I'll have it sitting flat on the table with the spine up the back so they can see the number in the picture. Then I'll take a photo of the first page, the item specifics page, I'm not too sure what that's called, and a couple of pictures of the art in the middle, because people might want to collect the art. So that's something to do from those. And what I found with people listing these books, most of the listings are just that, or front and back and that. If you provide more photos, if you have higher feedback, like I was saying before, you need to do that extra step, and you'll probably have a more successful style. But the story merchant said that that price is a little bit too high at $64.99. Like I was saying, is that there is some sold data supporting probably the $50 mark for brand new books. However, they were on auction. I would strongly advise against using an auction in any capacity. The reason why I got that Skylander that's only 1,500 of is because they put it on auction and I was the only person that bid on it. They put it up for $450, $500, I can't remember what it was. I dropped a bid on it. I was prepared to probably go to $600, $700 because I wanted it. I'm very addiction, I suppose. That's probably one of my faults of my personality, and I'll touch on that in a second. Is that, but like I was saying, is they went in auction. They do have brand new books at that $90 plus mark, but if someone's not using it for the DLC code, they're using it because they're just getting into the tabletop, they're getting into Warhammer, or they're collecting the codexes because there was a lot of codexes. There's a codex for every army. They might be inclined to say, hey, well, I'm willing to drop $65 or $75 on a used books opposed to paying $100 for the exact same thing for something I'm not even going to use with the redeem code. But like I was saying to the story merchant as well, is that I tend to personally list a little bit higher. I turn offers off, which is contrary to a lot of what resellers say in YouTube, and by all means, choose your own adventure, do whatever you want to do yourself. However, if I list higher, it gives me that fat to come down. There's no one currently, like I said, I think that is the only one that's listed pre-owned at the moment. So that I'm really only competing with myself. I'm $25 cheaper than the brand new listing. If I bring it down to $50, yes, it will sell very quickly. However, I'm probably skimming myself for $20. I'm literally giving myself, I think, a week or 2 weeks keeping this stuff in the store. Then I'll start bringing it maybe down $5 a week until it gets to that price point of $55, $60 plus post. Then I'll move it on from there. What else are we going to talk about? Make sure you go to your stores look for wrapping paper. So I picked this up for 10 cents. It is 3 packs of 4 meters Christmas wrap. You might be saying, hey, well, look, it's a bit early to buy Christmas wrap. This stuff is fantastic for filler, So I literally got 12 meters of filler or stuff to wrap in for 10 cents. And I grabbed a couple of rolls. I told Mrs. Octopus it was for Christmas. But like I said, I told her it was for Christmas next year. I'm actually going to use it for void fill. What I normally do as well, and this is a bit more of a reselling video today actually, what I do is with the board games, I actually wrap them in this first, especially if they're in shrink wrap or they're more of a higher value board game. Wrap them in butcher's paper or Christmas paper, then I will put them in the box with the void fill around it, just to give that extra little bit of protection. So go to the shops, get your 10-cent wrapping paper. I know you probably can't see behind me, but Santa brought one of my daughters a dresser. I'm not too sure if that's one you sit at and do your makeup. She's obsessed with makeup, loves makeup. But Aramax, our beloved Aramax, and this is the reason why you do not use Sendle. For those people in Australia, for those people overseas, Sendle is kind of like our fast way couriers or our very cheap courier. Aramax was used by Bunnings, which is where we actually source this from on their website, kind of similar to the Walmart website where you got other sellers on these different things. So we sourced that from there. They only sent box 1. I wasn't too attentive to it because I didn't order it. So I just put the box away. Christmas Eve, I went to build it, and guess what we found? Box 2 was missing. So unfortunately, I've got a very upset 10-year-old that's cursing Santa at the moment for robbing her of a dresser. But when they find the second box, and I don't think they will, Bunnings has basically reached out to Aramax. Aramax hasn't gotten back to them. So I've told my wife, Bunnings has got to the end of next week. I'm doing a credit card chargeback and going to another place, because this is pretty universal, this thing. A lot of marketplaces sell it. So I'll go to another marketplace and buy it from there because there's only so much time I can waste before my daughter starts getting more and more aggravated. But on the flip side is once it's built, she'd be happy and she'll forget all about it. She's inconvenienced by a couple of weeks. So I've talked about that. I've talked about that. So we're going to get to now is probably my Idiot Abroad story. I'm trying to keep this one not as clean, but probably more politically correct as I can. So you can probably work out when I omit someone, you can probably work out it was. Long story short, so I just finished ADFA, which is our university for military university. Went through Bachelor of Business, and I suppose a lot of my cohort were going on international holidays, going to Bali, going to Fiji, just to have that wind down, all those different things. I asked my wife, would you like to go to America? So we'd go to Los Angeles, spend some time in San Francisco, and go to Las Vegas, because she wanted to go to Las Vegas and do all the shows and all those different things there. So when we landed in LA at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. So we're already up at that stage for like almost 24 hours straight. Jumped straight into a hire car, which was stupid on my path. Drove around because we couldn't actually check into our Airbnb until 4 p.m. that afternoon. So I literally went to Walmart. I went to all the American things that I wanted to see, because my only adventures to America was Hawaii before then for my honeymoon many, many, many years ago. So we jumped in the car, did all the different things. Got to the Airbnb. I was literally shattered. Like I couldn't stand up. I said to my wife, I'm just going to take my shoes off, then we'll go to bed, set an alarm for the airport for the next morning, because we're flying out of LA around about 9 a.m. to Vegas. I'm not too sure. Like, this is going back 6 or 7 years ago, so my memory's failing. I actually fell asleep on the bed taking my shoes off. So I was sitting on the edge of the bed, bent over to take my shoes off. I fell over to my side and fell asleep like that. It was just by coincidence that our Airbnb host banged on the door to say, hey, aren't you guys supposed to be going on a flight soon? That we actually woke up. We slept through alarms. We slept through all these different things. And the Airbnb host, because we put something in the comment field, I'm not too sure what we did, but he came and banged on the door and said, hey, look, you're going to miss your flight. So we raced to the airport, got to the airport, checked our luggage in, and got to the TRS line. And if anyone's from America, they probably understand what the TRS line's like. In Australia, we don't have that. We have probably, I'm standing away from the camera for about 30 centimeters. That's the length of our TRS line, but majority of the times. If I fly out of Canberra, if I fly out of one of the smaller airports, you literally go straight through security. So there's no line unless you're going on a public holiday. Sydney, you might be waiting 5-10 minutes at the very, very, very peak times, but nothing nowhere near as what we've seen from that time. Long story short, going back to my video yesterday, they were calling us over the PA. It's like, we're now boarding for LA. If there's any passengers waiting clearance through TRS, please identify yourselves and be given preferential treatment. I can't remember the wording, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Then they got to the point they started calling us, Mr. and Mrs. Gibb, please come through to the line, or you're going to miss your flight. I actually was speaking to a TRS agent, I'm pretty sure. And I said to him, look, they're actually calling us. Is there any way we can go to the end of the line? And expedite through the line. This line would have been, for those in Australia, probably about 400 meters long, probably in the States about 1,200 foot, I dare say, like 1,000 yards, like a long line. There's a lady in the front, and she turned around. She said, "Oh, are you on that flight?" It's like, yes, we are. But if we miss it, we miss it. Because I'm used to that by now. And she's like, "Oh, leave it with me." And then she turned around, and the loudest voice I've ever heard from a human, let alone a lady, hollers down the road. She's like, "Move out of the way, y'all!" And literally the line just parted like Moses, like the Red Sea or whatever it is. I'm not very religious, so if I use any religious, statements or anything along lines of that, you can work it out. Just from that perspective, the line's separated, and she's like, "There you go." Then we just went all the way through, and the TRS agent's just like completely dumbfounded. So that's my idiot abroad story today. I almost missed another flight. I've never had any issues domestically. It's always me. With my sense of entitlement at a Starbucks line, thinking, well, I've been waiting in line for 30 minutes to get my, probably pumpkin spice latte because I'm obsessed with Halloween. Then I missed the flight and pissed a lot of people off. But anyway, that's enough for us today, and that's the story. If you like these kind of videos, if you'd like more reselling content, or you like more idiot abroad stories, or you like a bit of a mixture of both, I'm trying to appeal to a broader audience with these, because I know we've probably got a lot of new resellers coming into the space for the start of the year with New Year's resolutions, all these different things. I don't want to over-stimulate them with reselling content. I want to kind of, build a community base up that we can talk and discuss about how much of an idiot I am. I know there's a few people in the comment section that agrees profusely with me, which is perfectly fine. Like I said, I'd rather you guys pick on me than pick on someone else. So anyway, that's it for us for another day. I'm going to an all-you-can-eat buffet tonight, and probably going to roll out actually. So if you see me tomorrow and I'm probably 3 or 4 times the size I currently am now, there's a good chance that's probably why. Or alternatively, you might come in and I might be this colour in my face because I've probably eaten something I probably shouldn't have. Anyway, we'll catch you next time. Bye.